one.
Welcome everybody. Hey, it's Lee Godbold over here at Junk Removal Authority, where we help junk removal business owners make more money and live a better life. And we are live, coming to you live. We hadn't done a live show in a while, so excited to be back doing this. Today's topic, it's kind of open, so it's a live Q&A. So we're going to open it up to any questions and answers, anything you would like to know about starting, running, or growing a junk removal company. It's fair game. We'll carry that out as long as we're getting questions in up to a point in time. One thing that we're going to try doing, we haven't ever done before, which I think is really neat, and a couple of you guys might be a little hesitant on volunteering first before you see how it's going to work out. But we can actually analyze Google Ads accounts live on the show, but here's the deal. We're not going to be sharing screens. I'm not going to, if you reveal your company name or who you are or whatever, then that's on you. At that point they know, but I will not reveal company name or who you are. So we'll go over the stats and the statistics that you have. It might cover the area that you're located at, but we're not going to reveal who it actually is. So if you guys would like to have your account analyzed live on here, you can email, just comment, let Matt know if you want to do that, or you can send him an email, matthew@junkra.com, and we'll get the little bit of information we need to be able to do that. So it's a way of having kind of an ads expert sit there, go in and look at your ads account. There's no charge at all. You know, if we were to charge somebody for this, it'd be pretty expensive. So in this case, we'll look at it. We'll give you an unbiased opinion. It could be a JRA campaign. It could be a non-JRA campaign, whatever you'd like. We'd love to take a look at them. So if you guys have any questions, post them in the comments and we'll make sure that we get to them. We did have a couple people that actually emailed in their ads account prior and would like us to take a look at it. So we're going to go through, I've got Genesis over here on the side right here. There might be some statistics I asked her to provide. We're going to write them up here on the board. And we're going to kind of go through how we would analyze an account and maybe say, hey, this account's doing well, or it could do a little better, or it's not doing great. And what we might try and do to get better performance out of it if it was a campaign that we were actually managing. So it's the first time we've ever done this. It's probably going to be a little shaky at times while we get things kind of figured out. If it is well received, then it's something that we'll continually do, and we'll give it a shot here for a while. So before we jump into it, Mastermind, Sam Schicks, the $10 million junk removal man, his Mastermind group is on sale now, I think through the end of the day tomorrow. Is that right? Saturday. End of day Saturday, it's $1,000 off. We correct there? So make sure there'll be a link in the comments or the description on this video. Click that link, get signed up for that Mastermind. There's a lot of great value out of that. Over 50 people have gone through that class. All right, so we're going to pop up here and I've got the first account. I'm pulling up the first account that we're going to take a look at. So this particular account is in the Northeast U.S. and their current ads budget is $186 per day. Northeast U.S. current ads budget. What did I say? 186. Is that right, Genesis?
That's right.
All right. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to let Genesis get hers pulled up as well. Okay. So 186 a day. What does that come out to be? 186 a day times 30. I think he runs all 30 days in the month. It's going to be a little under about 55.80. So that's 55.80 per month is what he wants to spend. So that is a very good, healthy budget. We have budgets higher than this. We have a lot of budgets lower than this. So this is somewhere like, probably like top 25% in terms of junk removal budgets that we look at. So first thing I'm gonna do when I take a look and I go into this account, looking at the total cost spent. So right now I've got the last 7 days up. So he has spent $706 last 7 days. Genesis, what is it on the last 30?
Last 30 is $2,566.
So guys, one of the first things that I'm looking at right here is assuming he actually wants to spend $55.80 per month. He's only spent $25.66, so we have a discrepancy here in terms of how aggressive he wants to be, how much he wants to spend, and how much the campaign's actually spending. So one area of opportunity we've got, I want to look in to see if there's a way that we can actually spend more on this particular campaign. So if he could be in an area that's not possible, but that's one of the first things that we want to take a look at. All right, some of the other statistics that I'm going to look at on these campaigns, we've got, he's got a couple different campaigns set up. Let's focus on the junk removal campaign for now. So junk removal, I'm assuming, is just general junk removal. I can take a look at some of the keywords to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. He has a 17% click-through rate. Now, what is click-through rate? Click-through rate, for those of you that aren't familiar, is of all the times your ad showed, how many people actually clicked on your ad. So in this case, 17 out of 100 people, if they saw their ad 100 times, 17 were clicking on it. We normally want to shoot for like a goal of like 12 to 18%. We see some accounts that are maybe like 20% plus, but that's not really good. So where is he at 17%? He's doing pretty good. The other thing that I like popping in and looking at, you know, I'm curious what his bid strategy is. Right now he is a CPC enhanced bid strategy. And I like that. So far I'm feeling pretty good about this campaign. CPC enhanced, that is a manual bid strategy that you use. Generally we'll use it when we first launch an account. Now once there's just enough conversion data in, a lot of times we'll switch it over to a bid strategy called Target CPA. But the nice thing about enhanced CPA or enhanced CPC is you set the max bids that you're willing to spend for a particular keyword. So we tell Google, hey Google, I'm willing to spend $12 for this keyword junk removal in whatever city. Enhanced CPC will actually allow it to spend a bit more than that if Google feels like it's very likely to convert into a sale. And then what it'll do is, in order to maintain that average max CPC of $12 when somebody's less likely to convert, it'll lower that the amount it bids. So it brings a little bit of an automated strategy into a mostly manual campaign, and you generally are going to see a little bit higher conversion rates when you run this. So I like CPC enhanced. I'm not sure if it's still appropriate for this campaign or not because of how much he's spending, but we're going to find that out. So the only other numbers that a couple of the numbers I'm going to look at right now, I want to know what the conversion rate is. I'm looking over a 7-day time frame here. I normally want to expand out to 30 days, but we started with 7. Let me go ahead and jump out into 30 days. Let's see if it was pretty close. All right, 30 days, there we go. That seems to be, it was showing a 42% conversion rate over the last 7 days, which is a crazy amount. This is still good over the last 30 days. It's at 29% conversion rate. So that means out of 100 people that go to his website, 29 of them are actually taking some sort of conversion action. In this case, he's doing what we recommend, which is he's tracking his phone calls, contact form submissions, and book online nows as conversions. So these are good, legitimate conversions. So we have 29% conversion rate, which is a great, solid conversion rate. And all told, over the last 30 days with the junk removal campaign, he's got 49 conversions. Which would put his cost per conversion at just about $40. $40 cost per conversion. In the northeastern U.S., it's maybe not quite northeast. This would be, it's pretty much, it's north of, it is north, it's kind of northeast area is where he is. He's not quite on the coast, he's a little bit inland, but it's pretty much northeast. So $40 cost per conversion, that's really solid. What we're shooting for in most areas now, it's really like 40 to 55. Now we miss this on some months, and other months we hit it. Now if you're in areas like California, New York, I'm trying to think, those are the main ones, like California, New York City, that type of stuff. Just the city of New York. The rest of the state is priced pretty competitively. You're going to be higher than this, but about 40 to 55, unless you're in California. California, you might even be in the low 60s, maybe the 50s, but low 60s to upper 60s is sometimes what we're seeing out of a lot of places in California. Except we've got a couple that are random that are better than that. And just so you guys know, average cost per click on this is $11.52. Average cost per click is I don't care what the average cost per click is if the conversion rate's good enough. So if you have a 100% conversion rate, I don't care if you pay $40 average cost per click, because that's going to give you the cost per conversion that we want. So cost per click is a number that we manipulate. We raise or lower. It's one of the numbers we raise or lower to try and get the cost per conversion that we want. So in this case, he's a $40 cost per conversion. $11.52 average cost per click. Most areas of the country, the lowest you'll see on average cost per click is like 7-ish. If you're actually targeting good traffic and you have a really narrow campaign, so you don't have like a bunch of bad keywords coming in. On the high end, some areas of the country with a target CPA campaign, so more of an automated bidding strategy, you could be up in the 20s cost per click, but still maintaining close to or within this $40 to $55 range. All right, so the main thing that I look at this account, the number one thing I say is, all right, it looks pretty good. Now, I took a little time since he had provided us this account prior to the show, and I popped in within Google Ads. You can go in and you can take a look at search terms. So search terms, I'm just going to put a check mark here. They're good. So I look at search terms. I want to understand the conversion actions. They were good. Now, what am I looking for in search terms? So search terms, I want to make sure that garbage companies aren't slipping in. So like Republic Waste, GFL, Meridian Waste, stuff like that. Like those keywords aren't coming in, because Google's going to try and throw those in there unless you do a good job getting them excluded. Out west in California, Recology, you'll see that. Nevada, you'll see that. Dumpsters will pop in. We don't like really targeting just the hauling keyword. Now we target junk hauling, but like hauling services could be all kinds of stuff. So as a general rule, we're trying to make sure it's really specific to junk removal related keywords only. And oftentimes we're not even worrying with single item pickups, refrigerator removal, mattress removal, even furniture removal sometimes is not a great keyword, because a lot of people are actually looking for donation centers that'll come and pick this stuff up. So this is a lot of the stuff that you're going to watch. On a campaign, in this case, he might be a candidate for it. So right now, since he's only spending half of what he wants to spend, it doesn't look like they're really targeting much single items. So that might be an area that we would actually want to introduce a single item campaign if he just wants more volume in. One of the nice things about single item campaigns is single item campaigns might be a single item today, and they might be a full load or multi-load truck job tomorrow. So it's it can be a good strategy to run single item campaigns if you want to be aggressive and try and gain market share. Now, in the case of like our junk removal company, Junk Doctors, we spend 15 or ish grand or so a month on Google Ads. I think we're the third highest spender in the JRA system with junk removal Google Ads. We do not run a single item campaign. Being 12 years in business, we're trying to maximize. We've gained a lot of market share. It's us and Got Junk in terms of the most business in North Carolina. I think we actually probably have them by a bit. And we've got the market share that we want, so we're trying to maximize profitability. Now, we have some other guys. We got a guy down in Florida and a couple other places out west, Nevada, super aggressive. They want to get as much market share as they can, so they want to show for single items. Even if that means they go off and do that job and they don't make money on it, they lose money on it, what they're looking at is, hey, that truck's rolling down the road, people are seeing my advertisements. I'm getting in front of a customer that could turn into a big job, could turn into a referral, leave a review online, and then reuse us later on. So it all depends on what you want to go after. We got any questions yet or anything, guys? Feel free to post any questions on there. It could be ads related or not. Okay, so let's, the first thing I want to understand, since all these other statistics look good, I know the search terms are good, the conversion actions are where they need to be, I want to understand, why is it underspending? So one of the statistics that we'll look at with Google Ads quite often is impression share. So overall, this campaign has a 65% impression share. So I'm going to do 65. It has a 56 top impression share and a 40 absolute top impression share. So out of all the time somebody searches that for a keyword in his area that he wants to bid on, he's showing 65% of the time. He is 56% of the time showing up top, so above the maps, and he's 40% of the time showing the very number one position. I know we got a question, right? So I'll get to that in just one second. on these numbers, this is pretty good. So we normally want to see this number here, like really as high as we can get to an extent, but like 60, 70 is awesome. We have a lot of campaigns that are 20s and 30s on this number. A lot of this is dependent on the budget. We're going to find out in a second why it's not showing more. 56% of the time, he is showing up top. That's pretty good, pretty healthy. You know, those two numbers are pretty close together, so most of the time he's up top. 40% of the time, he's the very number one position. This number right here, I'm actually a little concerned with. I don't like being the number one position 40% of the time because it means we could be actually overspending, and a lot of people are going to call multiple companies anyway. Being the number one position isn't necessarily a good thing. You might get a ton of calls and a ton of conversions, but your closing rate potentially could be a little bit less because a lot of people are going to contact at least 2 companies. So that number's a little high. There is a couple other numbers that tell a bit more of the story. So the lost impression share due to rank is 36%. He's not missing out on anything due to budget. So that means 36, 35%, whatever it was. That means 35% of the time, his ads are set up in a way where he's not showing due to rank. So that means he's not willing to spend enough per click, or the quality scores on his keywords are too low, which I haven't looked at yet, or any number of things. So oftentimes in this case, what it means is you've got somebody in his market that probably has, or a few companies in his market that have fairly low budgets. So earlier in the day, they're probably willing to spend higher cost per clicks because it's not being managed as well, because this campaign's doing well, higher cost per clicks, and they're running out of money. And then all of a sudden, this particular campaign's coming in and it's really doing really, really well. So in order for us to spend more, one of the things we can do is we can try and raise bids up to get more of a spend. So the cost per conversion probably is going to go up in this case, but he's going to get more overall conversions. So what I'd like to know is, one question I would ask him is if he wants to be more aggressive and get more in, he's willing to spend a little bit more money to potentially do that. So that's one area of opportunity that I would see on this campaign. Probably would raise up bids a bit. However, let's talk a little bit about bids. So one of the numbers that we looked at was 49 conversions over the last 30 days. We'll get this question right after this. 49 conversions last 30 days. I like switching over to the target CPA, maximize conversions, target CPA bid strategy when we show 30 conversions within 30 days. He is well over that. So what might you expect to see if you switch from target CPA, or from enhanced CPC to target CPA? What we hope to see is a higher conversion rate. So you convert more people. We hope to see a larger number of conversions. And we want to see and hope to see a lower or maybe the same cost per conversion. Target CPA, the way target CPA works, so it's maximize conversions, target CPA. The way that bid strategy works is Google, and all the information it has on all of us, and all the information it's gathered from your campaign, it sits there and it looks at individual search data. And it says that Matt over here, he's a bit of a cheapskate. So Matt is sitting here and his statistics are saying that he is less likely to convert, so Google's going to decrease the cost. But then over here we got Genesis, and Genesis values service over price a bit more than Matt does. She's willing to spend a little bit higher. So what Google is telling, based on all the information it has, is, hey, she's more likely to convert, he's less likely to convert, so we're going to bid more for her, we're going to bid less for Matt. It's a great, just a great strategy. So max conversions with no target CPA, it would float that amount all over the board. And at some point it might get pretty good, but it could be really scary and really ugly for a while you let it kind of run without any limits. So we stick target CPA on there and we say, hey Google, we'd like to spend $50, $60, $40, whatever per conversion. Sometimes, a lot of times we have to start it high and work its way down. So what's going to happen is Google's going to pop in here, and I'm not going to make any changes with this campaign, but Google's going to make a recommendation as to what it says based on the past data. We can just take a look and see what it says. So if I go into settings here, and I look at past data on this campaign, Google's going to come up with the recommended target CPA. I'm going to bet it's going to be like 40 to 50. Let's find out. I'm going to hit the button right now. $39. So it recommends a $39 target CPA. So in this case, I would set it at $39 target CPA. I would give it a week to 2 weeks of watching it. We're going to watch it pretty closely the first few days, and if it sees something just crazy, then we would speak with the customer and figure out, hey, what would you like to do here? But I would let it run as long as it's not crazy cost per conversion numbers. You might see some crazy cost per clicks and cost per conversions for the first few weeks while it kind of stabilizes. But let's say we get a week or two in, and all of a sudden we're looking and we've got a higher conversion rate. Instead of a 29% conversion rate, we've got a 33% conversion rate. We've got more conversions. They've gone up, and the cost per conversion is the exact same. I'm going to take a look at impression share. I'm going to talk with the customer and see how aggressive they want to be. And then at that point, we have two options. We can actually raise up the target CPA and try and get more conversions overall, knowing that we're going to spend more money, or we can try and squeeze a bit more profitability out and lower that target CPA and get more profitability. So the only thing I'll add to this, and we'll be done looking at this account right now, I would be a little hesitant to switch this campaign simply because it is doing so good on enhanced CPC. However, if I were this business owner, I would make the switch. I would give it a month or two, see what happens. See if we can get target CPA working better, because 9 times out of 10, or at least 8 times out of 10, it is better than enhanced CPC. And now, from time to time, we might have to take it off. Sometimes target CPA can just all of a sudden it's almost like it quits working, and we have to like jolt the system. We might have to turn it off and turn it back on later. But overall, it's generally the best move, and that's what I think I would do with this campaign. What kind of questions we got there, Matt?
We got a question from Junk 180. Said, with Google Ads, I get how Google tracks conversions for online submissions and calls. With online booking tools such as Workies, how are those online bookings tracked in a way that Google understands?
So in the case of Workies, there's a few different ways. The way we use is with Workies. If you go into the settings on your Workies under the online booking, you go to settings, and I think it's online booking, and then it's like advanced settings, and under advanced settings, there'll be a URL to post a thank you page. So you stick the URL of the thank you page in there, and then through Google Tag Manager and all, however you're setting your conversions up, you'll link those two together. I'm not an expert on setting up conversion tracking. We've got a developer that handles that, but it's done through the thank you page. So every single time somebody clicks book now, it is a web visit to a particular URL, and then you count that URL. Every time somebody goes to that URL is counted as a conversion within the Google Ads platform. Is that all we got?
We got one more from Lincoln Smith. He says, my CTR has increased significantly over the past few weeks, but I don't see more conversions. Could this be bots, or what do you think might be my problem?
Yeah, I mean, it potentially could be bots. Could be a bot attack going on. There are some cases of that occurring. I would say make sure you've got ClickCease and click fraud software isn't always the best at preventing bot attacks and click fraud, but it's the first step. So you can pop on over into ClickCease, and if it's set up, it'll tell you the percentage of traffic that's maybe coming from bots, and that can kind of be a start. I don't know what time frame you're talking about too. So I mean, sometimes you're just going to have pockets where you get more clicks. It doesn't sound unusual compared to what we've seen on accounts recently. I think people are shopping a bit more than they used to, so that means they're clicking on more. They're clicking on more links, more Google Ads, and they're actually contacting people a bit less because people are they're in a shopping mood here recently. That could also play into it.
All right, we've got one says, how do we track conversion if it's booked now via Workies?
Yeah, so I mentioned that in Junk 180, and it's possible that was asked prior to me answering it, but within your WorkEase settings on online booking, make sure you have a thank you page. Anytime that somebody submits an online booking, it goes to a particular thank you page. That URL from your website, you're going to post within the WorkEase under online booking settings, and it's going to track. Then you just go into your conversions settings through Google Tag Manager, however you're setting your conversions up, and it's going to track a visit to that page. That's how we do it. Great questions there, guys. All right, so I've got one more account that was provided to us beforehand to take a look at, and we will pull that up right now. Genesis, I might have you give me these stats. I know you're waiting over there patiently, but I got kind of in a roll there, so that's what we got there. All right, so let's pull this account up and see what we've got. This one's kind of on the west. I tell you what, here you go, Genesis. Let's do that one instead. That one came through as well. All right, so let's pull this account up here, and this one, it's not spending as much as the prior. All right, so same sort of deal. I'm curious what their budget is. Their budget's set at $75 per day. It is in the western portion of the country. $75 a day. Bid strategy is actually target CPA. That's cool. I like that. Good to see. It's good strategy. CTR 9%. So what do we think about this 9% CTR? It's a little low. Again, we want to see this number at least to be 12%. Last 30 days spent $1,700. It's a little low. It should be closer to what, 2,200, something like that. It's 75 a day. Impression share numbers are 13, 11, and then less than 10. So 13% of the time they're showing, 11% of the time they're showing up top, less than 10% of the time they're showing in the number one position. And they're missing out. This must be a pretty large service area with a lot of people. It's 77% lost due to budget. This excites the hell out of me. I love seeing lost due to budget. Because why? If we love lost due to budget, why is that? I'm just asking in general out there. Why would we like seeing lost due to budget? We want to see lost due to budget because that's opportunity. So lost due to budget equals opportunity. That means if we get all the rest of the numbers correct and we get the cost per conversion where it needs to be, and the company that's taking the phone calls, so when they're answering their calls, one, they're answering them, and two, they're booking them at a pretty good rate, hopefully 40%-ish of all the calls that come through get scheduled, close to it, then in that case, once we've looked at that and the average job sale, and all those numbers are right, and we've determined, hey, we're at least making a little bit of money on Google Ads. The days of making a ton of money on Google Ads, that was like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. It's too competitive now. Cost per clicks are too high. Your goal now is to make a little bit in the short term, but in the long term, to do a really good job and send out thank you cards at the end of jobs, follow up with people, and have your trucks be seen going down the road. Have send out follow up emails and postcards, that sort of stuff. That way people come back and use you all the time and get reviews. So you got to be a really, really strong operator now to do really, really well. Google Ads is still great. The ROI isn't as good as it was, but you still got to do it because all your competition is, and 50%, more than 50% in a lot of cases of your traffic are actually choosing Google Ads now rather than going organic. So this is opportunity to me. Let's look at the other numbers that we want to see. The most important one is cost per conversion. I base all my decisions on a Google Ads campaign off of cost per conversion. That's where I start anyway. That's where I start. So cost per conversion, $81. We got a conversion rate of 19%. So $81 cost per conversion long term is not going to be sustainable unless you're getting, here, might as well write this out a little bit. This is quick little math. It's not 100% accurate, but if we have an $80 cost per conversion, let's say we book it 50% of the time, which is high, but just for simplicity's sake, if we book 50% of the conversions that come through, then that's $160 cost per conversion. No, that's $160 cost per job.
It's a little high.
Yeah, it's high.
The writing side.
Oh, I'm high. Okay, the cost per conversion is high too. All right, sorry about that. I thought you were adding some input in there, Matt. All right, in that case, it'd be $160 cost per job. And so you would need, we would sit there and need to look at what the average job sale would need to be. Ideally, the cost for Google Ads doesn't exceed, it's going to sound high to some of you guys, but 25% of your of the revenue that you bring in off of a particular job or off of your jobs that come from Google Ads. 25% advertising expense as a percentage of revenue is high. When you first start a business and you're aggressive on advertising, you'll probably see that. What happens is that number comes down over time when you get repeat business and referral business and you start getting jobs from other sources. And when you have more online reviews and higher organic ranking, then that percentage, your advertising percentage for your entire company should come down into the 10 to 15% range. But on Google Ads for those specific jobs, about 25% is what you're going to want to shoot for. So it's going to be like 600, I think. 160 divided by, let's see, 160 divided by 9. I mean, it's possible, but very unlikely. It's like 630, 635. Looks like to be about 600. You would need about a $635 AJS, average job sale, for an $81 cost per conversion to be sustainable. Where they are in the country, I don't think they're going to get that. I think they're going to be closer to the upper 4s to maybe 5. I'd say mid 4s to 5. This isn't sustainable. Now, that being said, when you first launch Google Ads, the first 30 days especially, potentially the first 60 and maybe the first 90, like you might see higher cost per conversions, but we need to see a trend where we're working this thing down. And you should be pretty, as long as you're seeing a good trend, then that's good. But if this is not something you want to run a year, because it's every time you do a job, you're going to be losing money on it, unless you got, like I said, that 630 average job sale. So that number is concerning to me. All right, so what would we want to do to improve this particular account? Well, the first thing, since it's on Target CPA, I want to know when it was, how long has it been on Target CPA, and I don't have the time to go through the change history right here. So let's just assume it's been on for 30 days, 60 days. The first thing I'll do is I want to see what the Target CPA is actually set in. The Target CPA can be set at the campaign level as well as the ad group level, not at the keyword level. So you can't, for individual keywords, you can't set Target CPAs. You have to do it on either the ad group level or the campaign level. So this particular account, well, there's good news here. This particular account has an $80 Target CPA. The good news is if you look at the split in between these two, it's close. So that means Target CPA is probably working. So what I would do on this campaign is I would lower this Target CPA, give it a week or two, and see what the heck happens. The one thing you might want to double check is impression share numbers lost due to rank. I'm really not that concerned with this in this case because we know we have to get this lower. And if I look at the lost impression share due to rank here, It's 9%. It's like nothing. Very low. So whoever's managing the account is just overbidding in this case. So I tend to like the lower target CPA up to 20%, no more than 20, unless you're trying to shock the system and tell Google like it hasn't been listening to your target CPA. And from time to time, if we have a campaign that's been on target CPA and there's a big discrepancy, let's say it's set at a $40 target CPA and it's getting a $120 cost per conversion, it's not listening at that point, especially if we look at the average cost per clicks and they're really high. Then I don't know why we have to do this, but it works. I haven't seen it really published out there very much, but we'll lower that target CPA a lot. And it will also lower the budget, and that'll like shock the system and like throws it back into learning mode, and sometimes it works. Sometimes we have to switch over to enhanced CPC. But in this case, it's good news. This is close. I'd like to lower this by 20%. So we'd bring this down $16. So we'd bring this down to $64. So we would change, I would want to change this to $64. Which is still high. You know, again, we're trying to get it in the 40s long term, but initially go down to $64. $75 day isn't a high budget. It's on the low side of what you would want to run. We're probably going to need to get a 2 weeks worth of data here, at least a week. A week from now, I'm going to see how this thing's doing if I was managing it. 2 weeks from now, maybe make a decision and potentially start working that target CPA back down. What I'm hoping to see is 2 weeks from now, all of a sudden, over a 14-day time frame or a 7-day time frame anyway, we're seeing cost per conversions that are in the 60s. And then I'm like, okay, now it's listening to us. The other thing I would work on this campaign is the click-through rate. I'd like to get it up some. I'm actually a little less concerned with the click-through rate here because there's such a lost percentage due to budget. But I do want to get it up some. The higher the click-through rate, the lower the quality scores on your, I'm going backwards here. The higher the quality scores on your keywords. And the higher the quality scores, the less you actually have to pay for a particular ranking. Now, some people debate how important quality score is to results nowadays on Google Ads. I don't think there's any debate at all. Google doesn't want to send people to sites that are spammy and give bad information and all, because they know if they did that enough times, people will get frustrated at Google and they might try and go somewhere else. So Google wants to make sure it's sending in the best way it knows how to judge. It's sending its users, its customers, or not its customers, but its users to a site that's going to be effective for them. So I think quality score is very important. Expected click-through rate is one of the measuring sticks as to how well you actually rank on quality score. So I would work on this. And how do you improve click-through rate? Well, sometimes you just raise up the bids. Now in this case, we're going the opposite direction. But sometimes you can raise the bids up, you just show better and you'll get more clicks. The best way of going about it, though, is just adjusting your ad copy. Trying different ad copy on your responsive search ads, just different headlines, different descriptions. I love doing keyword and location insertions. So the way location insertion works is it's going to show the exact town or city that person's located in that's searching. It's going to show that in your ad copy. And keyword insertion, the exact thing they search for is going to pop up in that ad copy. That tends to be great on increasing click-through rates. But the rest of it, because you got a lot of headlines and descriptions to do, you're just going to have to experiment. And it takes time, and you never stop experimenting with it. So even when these campaigns are running great, there's always a little extra you can squeeze out of it. You want to keep working on that. So I'd work there. Overall, I'd go through what? The one thing I hadn't looked at here, which I should, but we're not going to because we found a good topic to talk about there. I want to look at keywords or search terms. So I hadn't done that. We need to do that. I want to go through recommendations just to make sure that I like bringing up the account optimization score to 100. Google says it does not matter. The way you bring up an account optimization score to 100 is you essentially just miss everything. But you might find some good suggestions. Google's going to suggest things to you, things you should do to your campaigns. Occasionally there's a good suggestion in there. Most of the time it's terrible. Or maybe not terrible, not good. You don't want to do it. So you just dismiss those. It brings the score up. Google says it has nothing to do with your results. I like getting that score to 100%. And I've talked to several people that have run tests and they think that it actually does. So it doesn't hurt to do it. So I would do that. And then the other thing, I did already look at conversion actions. I'd pulled those up earlier and they were good. So they were set. The only thing, it tracked email clicks, which we don't always do. But outside of that, the conversion actions were pretty good. So I do know they're legitimate conversions. So I did do that. I like it though. This campaign would excite me. If I was managing this campaign, I would think, hey, we got a good shot of doing a lot of good for this individual because of the loss due to budget and the split between target CPA and cost per conversion being so close. The conversion rate was 19%, so that's decent. I'd love to get this up into the 20 some, which you probably can't over time. If we were doing that, I'd probably pop it. I'd look at the landing page just to see if the landing page is set up the way it needs to be set up. So, any questions?
Got a question from Lincoln Smith. He says, what do you think about local service ads?
I think you should run local service ads, and you're going to have a set amount of money you should pay that you've budgeted towards Google. Run LSAs, run Google ads, make sure you're tracking the statistics correctly, and compare the two. And whichever one is doing better, put more budget towards it. But just understand, the more budget you put towards LSA, a lot of times there's diminishing returns. And even on Google Ads, there can be too. But you don't have as much control over LSAs. So a lot of times, as you raise the budget up on LSAs at a certain point, all of a sudden, you get diminishing returns, you get worse customers. So just watch that. But I think everybody should try running LSA ads and just figure out what works best. As a general rule, with an LSA ad, a lot of LSA ads are $40 per call or $60 per call. You know, they're not charging for conversion. Well, I guess it is. They're charging for an actual, the actual lead coming through rather than per click. I mean, they're not charging per click. What we generally see is similar closing rates on the phone, but higher cancellation rates, so people are canceling more often. And the other thing is lower average job sales. And that's pretty consistent throughout the country, so watch for that. Really track your AJS on your LSAs versus your traditional Google Ads. Well, great, guys. Well, I'll open it up for any final questions because those are the two accounts that I have. Do we have the schedule again for next week yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll put it.
So let's go ahead and get everything on the schedule for next week. Guys, for Lincoln and whoever else, if you'd like for us to look at your Google Ads account, I'll go through it live. I'll give you suggestions. It doesn't matter if we manage it or not. I'll give you suggestions, whatever. And we won't, like I said, we don't put your business name out there. We don't put your location. We might cover the location a little bit in general terms like I just did, but I'm not going to name the exact place. And I'm not going to name your name. So, we're really going to be careful on not sharing that type of stuff. As soon as we're done with the show, I'm going to remove ourselves from access to your account, and that'll be it. So that's how that's going to work. Probably for now, what I'd like to do is actually get the accounts beforehand, rather than I just want to make sure we protect everybody's information real well here. So let's email Matthew@junkarray.com if you'd like it to be covered next week. And we can go into some in-depth conversations. We'll kind of figure out the best way to get questions as we're covering your account, because again, we're trying to not reveal any information. What you got, Matt?
Junk 180 says, since the profit generator in this business is the repeat business, what percentage of sales would you expect to see for an established business in repeat sales?
If you've been in business 5 years plus, 40 to 45%. Got any other last second questions, guys? While we're waiting for those to come in, Sam Schick's Mastermind Group. You got until Saturday night to get $1,000 off of that thing. Over 50 people have gone through that class. Junk removal trucks. We've got a couple of black junk removal trucks that are somebody was going to buy and backed out of. So I've got 2 of those that are done. They're 15-yarders. You can take delivery on them next week. If you want graphics, we can do graphics and put them on it. We're about 8 or 10 weeks out on trucks for custom builds. Custom being you select your color and a couple different options, odds and ends. And like I said, it's about 8 weeks out on that. So we can still get you in before the end of the year if you guys are wanting to get the tax write-off. Now, bonus depreciation is limited, I think, to 20% this year. It used to be you could write it all off in the same year. Now you can only write off 80% of it. But if you've had a decent profitability year and you're sitting there and you're looking at your taxes and you're like, hey, I've profited $100,000 this year, and but I haven't been paying taxes up to this point, and all of a sudden you're faced with a $25,000 tax bill, you can buy one of these trucks instead, potentially put 0 down, write off It's like a $90,000 truck, so you can write off a good portion off your taxes there. So we probably have another week where we could get, pretty much guaranteed getting them done before the end of the year.
James said, plug for Sam's mastermind group. From someone who's gone through it, it's well worth the cost.
Thanks, James. Appreciate that, man. Always appreciate you. If you guys are interested in having us manage your Google Ads campaigns, build out websites, one of the things we might maybe show you next week is a couple of the recent sites we've done. We got a lot of new themes that we've put out. So we've been working on these themes for like 3, 4, probably 4 months now. And we got a couple that are done. We got more coming. So there'll be a lot more variety. I think they're sweet looking. It's by far and away the best looking junk removal site out there. And then we've got some conversion rate optimization or user experience testing that we're actually doing post-launch on these new themes. And getting great results so far. It's amazing how little tweaks in all these websites can make a big difference. So looking forward to getting these new themes rolled out. If you guys are interested, junkra.com, give us a call. You can talk with Shane. He'll get you all up to speed on them.
We got 2 things. One is Lincoln said, when does the mastermind start? Can you explain a little more? And Lincoln, I will drop the website in the comments here so you can take a look at it. Brandon S. says, for the past 3 months, our conversion rate has been 38.83 cost per conversion. Conversion rate has been 38.83%. Cost per conversion. You want to write it down? Okay.
Yeah, I'll write it out. He's actually going to give us some decent information here. Which, I think about what we might do, Matt, instead of having people share the accounts with us, they can just give us the stats. And that'll probably make them feel a little safer about going forward with this stuff. Sure. All right, so what's he got?
All right, so the conversion rate has been 38.83%.
Okay.
The cost per conversion has been $51.61. $51.61.
Okay.
The CTR is 8.6%. And the cost per click is $20, limited by search volume, though, he says.
Okay. All right. I'd be curious, what's your bid strategy? If you'll stick what your bid strategy is it manual CPC, enhanced, target CPA, max clicks? What's your bid strategy? It's probably not max clicks at a $20 average CPC. I'd be curious there. Your conversion rate is excellent. Your cost per conversion is solid. Impression share. So I like your cost per conversion. I like your conversion rate. That's great. You're limited by volume, so you probably want to get more overall conversions, is my guess. So I'd be curious if you are losing out due to rank on your impression share or not. You may or may not be, but if you can let me know that. Because here's what might occur. If he gives the actual numbers, I'll fill it in here. But what might happen if I look at this and all of a sudden we see there's 30% loss due to rank, then I might actually want to raise up bids or raise up target CPA so you can actually get more overall conversions, understanding this is going to go up. Do we have a number?
Target CPA, $49.
That's awesome. So they're close. Does he have, what about impression share? Overall impression share and top impression share and impression share loss due to rank, if you'll give me those numbers. Okay. So the options he has, because his target CPA is set at $49, if he is missing out due to rank, then his option is to raise this, and let's see if it gets a higher overall impression share, less loss due to rank, and gives more conversions, understanding this is going to go up. If we find that he does not have a lot loss due to rank, let's say it's like 5% or less, then the next thing I would like to look at is I'd like to look at his locations. So I need one of those like smart boards, man. Yeah. I just don't want to pay for one. But if we have one of those smart boards, that'd be sweet. All right, locations. I'd like to see, can we go wider? And then the other thing, I'd look at campaigns. And or campaign slash, let's say, keywords.
I got some numbers.
And my question is here, can we go, can we do more? Can we do single item pickups? Can we do some demolition type stuff? So single item or demolition. So what I'm looking for here is, because he's got a great cost per conversion, he's got an amazing conversion rate, is what I'm looking for is opportunity to get more volume because he's limited by volume. Single item or demo. And you said you've got some actual numbers for me?
Impression share is 79.54%.
So 80% impression share, that's good.
Outranking 0 top of page 89.3.
All right, so say that to me one more time.
He said impression share 79.54%.
Yep.
Outranking 0 top of page 89.30.
Yeah, so forget this. You're showing all the time. If you're in a smaller area and you can't expand, then you can't expand. I'd look at locations first. Then I'd look to see, can you do a single item campaign for your fridges and mattresses if you want more volume, understanding you're probably not going to be very profitable with it. And the demo campaigns, I'm assuming you're already doing hot tub removals, but is there any type of demo you might be able to target to squeeze some more out of it? What else could we do here? Short of that, I think you look at that. I think you look at expansion, but I would also, you might as well see if you can spend a little less. You have 0%. If I'm understanding what Matt said here, you are not missing out on anything due to rank. So if you're missing out nothing due to rank, you might be lining Google's pockets with your $20 average CPC. Again, this doesn't scare me at all, but if we can get this down, we might as well try. So what I would try and do, I would not go crazy on this campaign because it's doing pretty well, but you have a target CPA, I think, of $49. I would probably lower this target CPA maybe 10% at most. So maybe bring it down to like $44. So change to, and then you see what the heck happens. Congratulations, you got an awesome campaign going on. So I don't know if you're self-managing or if you got somebody else managing, but this is great. It's a good campaign. I love that number. That's on the high end of what we would see. That's like top 5% conversion rates, if not even higher. So that's amazing. Great work there. Try and get a little more efficient and obviously try and get a little bit more volume by these methods here. If you're in a small market, that might be all you can get out of it if you've already done these things though. And at that point, just try and get this cost per conversion down as low as you can while maintaining hopefully the number of conversions, decreasing your spend and not seeing this move a ton. I'd like to see this a little, like 5% or less, because then you feel like now I'm getting, I'm at that point where I need to be, like now I might be overspending. The one number we need to get from him is absolute top percentage. You can share it if you'd like. It's probably pretty high. I'm betting your absolute top is like 60% or 50% or something, or maybe even more than that. And that's another indicator if you're absolute top, so you're showing that number one position all the time. If it's really high, you definitely have some room to come down some. That's great, man. That's how we need to do these things. They don't need to share the accounts. They just need to. What we can do is
give a list of the information.
Yeah, if we could let's put a list of information together, and I don't know how we can send it to people or just post it or whatever. But if they can just have those stats, then that makes it a lot easier, and I don't have to sit here and on pins and needles making sure I don't accidentally reveal an account. So I like that.
Good.
So good. I appreciate you doing that and helping us figure out how we want to do it. We got anything else? Great, guys. All right, well, it's been fun, man. I love these live shows. We hadn't done them in a while because I've been just knee deep in operations up until recently. We've been able to hire some new people and some great people, and I'm finally able to do a bit more of this type of stuff, which is what I enjoy doing. So glad to be in front of you guys. We're doing it again next, what's today? Wednesday? Thursday.
Thursday the 5th.
Thursday the 5th? Mm-hmm. No, today's the 5th. What's a week from today? Is that the 13th? 12th. So next Thursday the 12th, 3:15, is that right? 3:15 Eastern time, we're going to be doing the same thing. What I'd like to try and do, Matt, is get where people can call in.
Okay.
So we see if we can work that, and we might just get a phone number that they can call, and I'll stick it on speakerphone.
Sure.
Let's have some fun with this, guys. Appreciate you guys watching. Hope to see you in here next week. Check out junkarray.com and junkremovaltrucksforsale.com. I am Lee Godbold with Junk Removal Authority, where we help junk removal business owners make more money and live a better life. We'll see y'all next time.